Hey everybody, while you are all watching this video right now, I am going to be in London, hopefully having a good time. I don't know what future Tekking is up to at the moment. Maybe I'm at the British Museum. Maybe I'm observing Big Ben in all of its big clockness thing. Maybe I'm walking in Trafalgar Square, which I think is named after Law, but I'm not 100% sure, right? Anyway, I'm in London, so instead I decided to show you something special, actually. A couple videos that many of you probably have never seen before. So, years ago, I want to say late 2016, early 2017, there was a website called Viewster. All right, which was not exactly like YouTube because not anybody could just upload videos to it. You had to kind of like sign a contract with them, and you would make a certain number of videos and they would pay you for that, okay? And I think I had two contracts with them, or two batches of videos I did. One was like 2016 to 17, and then another one in 2017 to 2018. So I did those videos for that website, Viewster, signed a contract with them. They could not be uploaded anywhere else, and the contract was like for 4 years or something. Then after I made that second batch, I completely forgot about that website until like 2022, something like that. The website had been gone. Another company had purchased it. I got an email from somebody that's like, hey, we acquired the Viewster and we also got your contract here. Do you want us to release it to you? And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. So I got the rights to my videos, and I thought it would be a pretty interesting thing to put these up because, back in the day, I would make like advertisements for it, like, hey, go check out this video here or whatever. But if you are not a longtime fan of the channel, or if you just missed it back in the day, there is no way I think you could have seen these videos because Viewster's no longer up anymore. That link redirects to a completely other website, right? So on Viewster, I had a few different series that I did. There was one called The Three, where I basically just went through like 3 different reasons on why you should check out a particular manga or anime. And then I did another one called Real Talk, which was just me in just a general sort of like vlogging style talking about a series. And I would like to share with you some of those videos. And it's also might be a big nostalgia bomb for a lot of people because these were all filmed back in my old room, back at my mom's place, And so, yeah, if you want to blast from the past, you got it here, okay? The last chance for this to see the original Tekking 101 studio in all of its glory, I guess. So the first video I wanted to show you is part of the original batch I made for Viewster. So this was probably like late 2016. So the video quality is not that great. A few webcams ago is when I recorded this. But this is going to be about the manga Kingdom. And Kingdom is, I think this is going to be the year, like last year was Berserk. Last year was like, I need to finally sit down and read all of Berserk. I think this year is going to be the year where I sit down and get caught up with Kingdom. I started reading Kingdom, and I'll probably go into it in the video itself, but I started reading it back when I was in college, so like 2014, and I probably read like the first like 100 chapters or so, like the first 2 arcs, I think, and then I got away from it. And then when I made this video for Viewster, I was getting back into it. I think I made it up to like chapter 200 and then got out of it. And I haven't picked it up since. And honestly, don't really remember too well every little thing that happens in the series. So, Kingdom fans out there, how's it all going? I know we're up to like 700 chapters right now, so it's getting to One Piece level. Did Shin become a general yet? I don't know because I haven't been up with it, but I will hopefully get caught up with Kingdom. Anyway, here's me talking about it from back in like 2016. Hope you all enjoy. And there's a couple of other videos this week that I'll be releasing from that time on that site called Viewster. So look forward to that. Take it away, 2016 Tekking. Hey guys, Tekking here. For this episode, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're not going to be giving 3 reasons why you should check out an anime. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should check out a manga. And I know you might be thinking, well, doesn't manga usually become anime when it gets popular enough? Yes, it does. And yes, this manga does have an anime. It's just not very good. And it's not for one of the standard reasons you might be thinking. It's not like the voice acting is horrible or the music is bad or anything like that. That's a whole other can of worms. But I'm just going to get right into it. We're going to talk about 3 reasons why you should check out the manga called Kingdom.
Now, I was just thinking about this today, and I haven't read Kingdom in a long time, but I do remember it was a really good read, and I'm going to try to get back into it. But Kingdom is a historical manga that's based around around 200 AD. And it's based on the Warring States period in China, so it's a historical manga, which is the first reason you should check it out. Of course, that it's dramatized to an extent, and these characters didn't actually act that exact way back then. Of course, then there's there's just limited stuff we have to work with too, because this happened a very long time ago and everything. But it's interesting to know that these sort of battles, at least the battles and the cities and the different states of China back then, those all existed. And it didn't happen exactly this way, but this is the way that China basically became unified. This is the story of the king of one of the sections of China. The Qin is the name of the country, and he's trying to unite all of China, which is what does, of course, eventually end up happening. But this was at a time period when, that seemed impossible. Like, all these different warring states, there's no way that you can unify all of China. But, of course, as we know now, that actually does happen. So, if you're a fan of history, it's not like I was really big into Chinese history, and I'm really still not, because there's just, I like studying American history myself. I'm a bit of a history buff, like in colonial up to, like, Civil War era in America, but, studying all the other countries' history, it's really hard to keep up with. But you learn some things through this. The narrator will actually stop and say, like, during this time period, this form of armor was the type that you would wear, or there was a common practice in the military, and it was called this, and it was utilized here, here, and here. So the narrator will stop and explain exactly what the different, there's a formation, like a special kind of battle formation called a go, where the infantry would all get into groups of 5. Go means 5. And so you'd get into these groups, and, the narrator will explain exactly how this works, and there's, like, one troop leader and everything like that. As well as the ranks that the main character Shin goes up as well. Like, there's different military ranks that he goes out throughout the story, and his main goal is to become one of the great generals of Qin, and then that's the main character, Shin. But yeah, so you're not going to learn everything about, like, ancient Chinese history through this manga, and of course it's still a manga, so there's crazy wacky shit that happens and stuff that's ridiculous that wouldn't have happened in real life or anything like that. But the fact that it actually did happen, at least on some level, is interesting enough. So I would say that was certainly one reason. The next is it's a battle manga, and it's a seinen, by the way, so there's a lot of blood and gore. But that's not the reason. It's a different kind of battle manga. We're not talking about just when we're talking about battles or wars. We're not talking about, like, just a bunch of people running at each other and then just hacking and bloodlust and whatever like that. No. These battles were played out as accurately as they could be played out at that time period. The military doesn't just, send a bunch of people to die and just, like, okay, whatever one wins first is the one that's alive, or whatever like that. No, it's planned out. It's strategic. It's like you have different infantries, you have different divisions, how you organize your army, using the terrain to your advantage, okay, so there's some mountains there, so maybe we can flank around this way and take out one of their main generals on top of that hill, and then that'll leave us an option to go into that way, and then we can utilize our archery, and then they can shoot. It's all about that shit. And because of that reason, these arcs are very long. You'll have entire arcs of Kingdom that take place in just one battle or one war. And that'll be like, a good 40, 50, 60 something chapters. It'll be a long battle. Because there's a lot to take in and a lot to really look at exactly how these battles are played out. It's not as simple as just, I have sword, you have sword, and we fight. It usually ends up getting to that point at some point where Shin will take on the leader of, like, an infantry or the leader of, like, a general or something like that, and we'll have some pretty good one-on-one battles that way. But for most of the fighting, it's very strategic, and it's you kind of looking at these diagrams and shit, and you're trying to figure out, like, okay, if they do this and this, I see what they're doing. That's kind of cool. You're learning about fucking ancient Chinese warfare, which is interesting, at least To me, it is. So it's a different kind of battle manga. It makes you think a little bit more, while still providing the necessary amounts of bloodshed that you would expect from a seinen. Finally is the art style. The art in this manga is very detailed when it comes to things like the weaponry. Like I said, in ancient China, and this is all about war and stuff, so things that are going to be a big deal are going to be armor and your swords and your shields and your weapons, and everything is drawn in such a way that gives it a little bit more of life to it. You know, just like a little vibrancy. Like, oh yeah, that you could tell that person wearing this immaculate armor and how detailed it is with the shoulders and everything, and like all the designs, and his weapon is this large gilded bicentennial and shit like that. That really that matters. That speaks to me. That, like, okay, they're going the extra mile to really detail this out. Meanwhile, you have Shin, who starts off as just a peasant, essentially, who's just wearing these raggedy clothing, and the only thing of worth he has is his sword, which is pretty finely detailed. And then eventually throughout the story, Shin eventually becomes a military leader, so he eventually he gets armor and stuff like that, and he grows older too. It's one of those mangas that take place over several years. The character designs are also very unique. Some of them, dare I say, actually look Chinese. I bring this up simply because if you watch a lot of anime that like slice of life stuff obviously takes place in Japan, and the characters don't look Japanese. Maybe one or two of them might, but for the most part they have that typical anime style, which isn't a bad thing, but for a manga that's set in historical China, a lot of the characters actually look Chinese, which is a good thing, and they all have their own little unique facial features, so you don't get confused. And it's just like Oki is a really big character in the beginning of the story, and he has very prominent lips, so you can't miss the guy. But even just like his right hand man has like he's like a whiplash mustache and stuff, so you can kind of follow, you know, who these characters are, because a lot of characters are introduced very quickly in this story, and you just kind of have to keep in mind, like, okay, here are the generals of these different lands, and because when you get into a battle, it's like you'll get like one chapter to set everything up, like, okay, so here are the people that are in charge of this army, here's the head of the army, and then here's one of the generals, and here's another general, and then here's this guy who's important, and then here's the strategist who's important, and they all serve this guy who's over here. And then on our side we have Shin, obviously, but we also have the commander who's here, and then all our other guys, and the people that are in Shin's unit. So there's a lot of faces you have to keep track of, is what I'm saying. So that's the third reason why you should check it out. Lastly, I feel like I should mention, before I go, I should mention the anime. Okay, here's the deal with the anime. The anime could have been really good. It could have been amazing. Because there's any number of ways that you could utilize this. The route that they chose to take was they chose to use CG, computer-generated graphics, very heavily in this anime, and it is just distracting, and it just does not work. Now, I understand what they were going for. There's a lot of, like I said, strategic battles here, so maybe to take full advantage of these battles, they had to show it in the 3D rendering. The problem is they don't stick, they switch back and forth. So you'll have scenes that are in 3D, and then you'll have scenes in 2D. And by the way, when the scenes are in the standard animation style, it's really good. In fact, if you go and watch the intro to Kingdom, just the opening theme song, the scenes that are animated in the traditional animation style look really colorful and vibrant, and they look really good. And then the scenes with the CG, it's just, they look distracting, and it's a much low quality. We're talking about like PlayStation 2 era graphics here. And I'm not bagging on the fucking CG studio. I'm just saying that, why is this necessary? Why did you have to do this? And I've seen, don't even say it's the only way they could have done it, because I've seen plenty of other manga being adapted into anime that are older, that utilize a lot, they have a lot of stuff going on in terms of battles, and they're managing to do it just fine without CG being present. I don't know why they decided to go that route with it, but for that reason, it's very distracting. If, you know what, even if they would have stuck with one style, if the entire Kingdom anime would have just been the CG, it would have been horrible at first, but maybe I would have gotten used to it. Probably not, but I might have. But it teases us with this, because it'll start off with the shitty CG, and then we'll see some pretty good 2D animation. It'll be like, all right, this is pretty good. Then it goes back to the shitty CG, and you're like, what are the rules here? Why are you doing this? Why you keep it limited to you think it would be limited to just the battle scenes, but no, it's not. So yeah, it's just that weird animation quirk that it has, and that's just one I can't get into the animation, and I can't get into the Kingdom anime. But the music is great. The voice acting is all right, and the English dub it's kind of shitty, but you know whatever, it's fine. I could deal with bad voice acting. All right, but this is it's just too much. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video anyway. Remember to like my Viewster page and check out my YouTube channel, Tekking 101. You can like and subscribe to that if you so choose, and my Twitter as well, at Tekking 101. So thank you for everything, everybody. This will be Tekking 101 signing out. I think you know who I am. I said Tekking 101 like 5 times in the past, like, 10 seconds. Later, everybody.